In this video, Mel Trajanovic and Anita McDougall use key ideas from Meaningful PE to demonstrate how they use reflective teaching principles throughout a lesson. The lesson that Mel and Anita are teaching is striking and fielding games for a grade 8 class, aged approximately 13 years.
Welcome folks, we are introducing something new today. As we are playing, we want you to consider some of the things that we've done already in the past that might connect to something that we're doing today.
Mel begins this lesson in a way that many teachers should begin a lesson, with a clear outline of the lesson objectives or learning goals, and ideas about how the teachers or students can determine if they are being successful with those objectives.
So there might be some transferable skills that you can reflect and use, but we really want you to think about these three things as we're learning today. So what are we doing? We are learning a new games within the striking fielding category of games in TGFU. So I can think about and use strategies and tactics for striking fielding games. So as we're exploring today in our first few games that are builds, you're going to start to make connections and you're going to think about those. Why are we doing this? We would like to see that you can reflect on your learning using the features of MPE. So we're going to make some connections to striking fielding, but also the features of Meaningful Phys Ed so that we can get more out of this. How are Anita and I going to know that you are doing this? You're going to be able to reflect and make connections to future games in this category. And as we're playing, we'd really want you to think about this kind of thing as well, possibly using some of our questions that we use regularly in our classroom to help guide your thinking. But you also might want to think about other games we've played and transferable skills, I already said that, and how we can change boundary, rules, or equipment as we play. And that might change your level of fun, your social interaction, or your challenge, or make it more personally relevant to you. So consider all those features and how things make connections for yourself as we play with your group.
Notice Mel is intentional about embedding language around meaningfulness within her statements. She asks students to reflect on previous learning, makes reference to features of meaningful experiences, and encourages students to actively make connections between past, present, and future experiences so that they might experience meaningfulness.
So the friends that are out here are going to be the fielding team. Your job in a moment, your job in a moment is going to be to send the ball into the play area. You're just sending one thing, so everyone should have one soft white ball in their hands. Your job as a fielder is to pick up one ball, and then run it back to the center line. And we need to make sure all 8 of you are there with your hands up saying done. Now, for those of you who don't get to just throw and watch them run around, you're going to be running around. So what you are going to do as an individual, you're going to throw, but you're going to see how many poly spots or cones you can touch before they're done fielding. You're not going to go 1, 2, 3, right? We're going to try to move, and we're going to try to make sure we're transferring weight, we're touching the cones. If you feel like it's easier for you to tap the top, do that. There's different accessibility, like entry points here for you. So think about where you want to send it. You have to have it cross the red line. Because if it does not cross the red line, if we go backwards, it's considered, what could we connect to here? Yeah, baseball would be a foul ball, right? So we're gonna go forward. Go, throw, and run.
Mel and Anita are using TGFU for this lesson because it carries reflective teaching principles within its structures. While Anita is being true to some key ideas from TGFU,
and stop,
such as focusing on learning transfer and identifying key tactical principles of gameplay through the use of reflective questioning, she is extending on these by including questions about the meaningfulness of experience using features to guide question development.
Excellent. Okay, so everyone has one at the line? We had 2, so we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay, so we have 2 people here in the learning box that are going to watch for a little, and we're going to keep playing. So now the friends that are throwing might have a bit of an advantage compared to the first group that was throwing, but this group also saw you field, right? So if we think advantage, that's going both ways. So while you're playing these next few rounds, I want you to think about the feature that's coming up for you, because in a minute we're going to get you to reflect and stand by the features that are on the wall.
Anita is very good at inserting specific and intentional reflective questions, prompts, and tasks into her lessons. Notice Anita first prompts students to think about how the features of meaningfulness are present in their participation within this task. She also flags to students that following this task, they will proceed to a second reflective task. This second task makes use of the features of meaningful experiences, which are posted on the walls of the gym. Students then engage in a reflective discussion about the reasons why something stood out to them in the task and are encouraged to listen to the perspectives of others. This is an excellent example of how to embed reflective approaches intentionally into a lesson.
But we're not quite done yet. We're going to play a few more rounds. This is the first build of this game, so we're going to continue. So right now we are going to build upon this, but we'd like to see what feature is standing out to you and how we might be able to connect to other features that we'll be moving towards. So the features are written over there on the wall with language from our community. So if you can take a look at the feature, there's a feature that's standing out to you or you're connecting to most right now. Can you just go and stand? I know they're kind of close together, but if you can kind of stand or point to that one. So when you're at this sign right now, if you can just talk to the people around you, if people are there with you sharing the same one, can you talk to them about why you're there, why you chose that feature? Yeah, I saw you. Yeah. So did you do something where the partner had to pick it up?
Think about what I'm doing.
Just trying it, yeah, so you had a little like family competition going on? Okay. Sometimes we'll share in a smaller group or with a partner and that feels fine, but then we do a larger group discussion and someone doesn't necessarily want what they've said shared. So please make sure you're sharing just your thoughts unless you're nudging someone else to share theirs, so we're not sharing that way. We just want to be careful. So is there anyone that wants to share why they went to that feature? You know, no one's that personally relevant right now, but if we start to connect to kids that might play cricket or those of us who might play softball or baseball, then the personally relevant piece, we might actually have ended up at that sign a little because now we know where things are going to go. Okay, so naturally we're now starting to see the idea of team. So, right, because now we're starting to communicate about the tactics. We're not all on our own little islands. We're starting to talk together about the strategy. Poly spots will be picked up, balls can go away. But then after you've done that, if you can try to go to the poster where you're seeing some of those features start to come out.
Following a progression, or build, where students were actively engaged in a slightly more complex or extended task, Anita uses the same strategy to have students think about how the features of meaningful experiences were present in the extended task. Students could select the same feature as before, or a different one, but regardless of their choice, they are encouraged to explain how and why they chose that. This helps individual students become aware of what makes physical education meaningful for them and the reasons why.
So if you go to the same feature that you did last time, that's fine. We need to know that, but which one sort of stood out to you, or as we're building along, which ones are you connecting to? And just, you can go and start to talk as soon as you get there. Now we're gonna give a few different options for equipment, but you need to check in with your partner about what you would like to do. So, if you would like to, instead of throwing the ball, the reason we have a cone here on purpose is so that if you want to, you can put a ball on top and then try to strike it off with a noodle. We also have bean bags if you'd prefer to slide something and you don't want a ball anymore. So what you could do is with your partner, come and take a look at what's available to you. You're gonna see cricket bats and paddles. Those aren't available yet, but it's coming. So if you want to strike with something, we're gonna start with the pool noodle. Same activity, just change the equipment.
Okay, I'm noticing something. Well, first of all, the noise level's up. Why? Which is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Mel uses her observations to focus a whole class reflective discussion here on one particular feature of meaningful experiences: fun. She uses specific examples or situations to help guide questions about what made the game fun, such as changing the equipment, the boundaries, or the rules. Acknowledging the role of fun is important, but perhaps more important is to examine what made it fun. As Mel shows, this can often be related directly to other features of meaningfulness, such as challenge or social interaction.
It's fun. Okay, what are you doing to make things more fun for you? Because I'm seeing different things in every single little mini game. What is something that you're doing that's making it more fun for you and your partner? So it's unusual equipment that everyone can use, so it's a little bit silly, so it's making it fun for you. So you're really like thinking strategically, what am I gonna do? I noticed you did something, Dana, that no one did, and it just made Anita and I laugh. What did you do in the last round that you just played? So what's that called? If you're pretending, what's that a technical term in athletics? What's it called if you're pretending to do something but you don't do it?
Like
a
a
fake,
fake. Yep.
right? So she's faking her out. Did we say you can't do that? So it's totally legit. She was really thinking outside the box and pretending to use her pretend little noodle bat. Is there anybody else that wants to share anything about why the fun factor has kind of increased a little bit right now? Because it has. I can see that everyone's engaged. Did anyone change any rules, boundaries? Oh, we can have equipment, but the way you're using the equipment might have changed. Did anybody change any rules or boundaries?
So what we're going to do now is we're going to ask you to think about the features that were present. We're going to have you reflect in your group on that rather than standing by the posters. But then we want you to discuss the next step and some of the equipment you might want to change out.
Anita uses reflection to have students think about the ways the task was fun, involved social interaction, was challenging, personally relevant, or led to improved competence. Depending on the students' responses, they are then able to modify their game to amplify one or more of the features to enhance the meaningfulness of the task.
If you start to have conflicts, what changes? What changes in terms of our features?
Mel uses reflective questions here to have students think about how their actions can impact upon the meaningfulness of other people's experiences in physical education. She uses the idea of creating conflict in a small group scenario and how that impacts upon social interactions and the fun others might have in a game. Mel continues this discussion to highlight the personal relevance of these types of conversations for students, in that they can apply what they are learning in physical education, in this case about conflict through participation in small group activities, to other parts of their lives.
Yeah, it becomes less fun for you, and then there's an imbalance with the social interaction. We're not feeling good about working with these people. So think about that as you travel through life, really. What happens when you have conflicts with certain people all the time? How do you communicate with them so that we can bring us together and agree upon things? Think about those as transferable skills you can use in life, not just sport.
So I think
Anita.
if we can try to have you do a self-reflection on the features and which ones were meaningful to you today. And once you're done there, if you can go to our board to see how we did with our learning goals and some of the things that you were thinking about during our lesson today. So if you can start, we will clean up because we're going to give you think time. So if you can go to the feature wall to see which features, again, were meaningful to you, but then come back to our learning goals and some of the questions that are on the board, and we'll do a quick debrief.
In wrapping up the lesson, students are provided with another opportunity to reflect on what they found meaningful. This consistent use of the posters or visuals that represent the features of meaningful physical education helps to establish a shared language in the class, enhancing students' awareness of what makes something meaningful to them, how it can change throughout a physical activity depending on numerous factors, and how others have different interpretations of the same experience.
Okay, does anybody want to share anything from our class as we kind of cool down? Think, pair, share. We've had some time to think. Pairing, let's share a whole group here. Think about our what, our why, our how. How does Mrs. McDougall and I know that you've actually met our learning goal or your learning goals for today?
How did the features give you language to be able to communicate cooperatively? Because they do that, like when we use the features as a base language, it naturally lends itself to positive social interaction because it gives us a framework for what we're trying to say.
In the conclusion to the lesson, Anita is intentional in encouraging students to reflect on the ways that being aware of the features of meaningfulness influences their participation and provides them with a language to describe that participation. In this particular case, she highlights a specific social skill, namely cooperation, which represents an aspect of social interaction. These types of discussions help students develop awareness of how their own experiences are shaped by features of meaningfulness, as well as those of others.
So being able to say that, it's not like, well, I want to use a bat because I play baseball. When we say it's personally relevant, it has a different, it's not like I play baseball and I want to take over the game. It can change kind of the, how it feels. Well, you were all fantastic.
Stellar, level 4.
Yeah, level 4. And we want to thank you for having the courage enough to change things. So we gave you the format and some of the goals, but gave you some freedom with equipment. And once we had that set, you knew it was an unspoken rule that you were able to change things to make it work for you. So we're glad that you took us up on that today, because it helped us learn as teachers as well of things that we can change and how to help.
One last thing that I heard over here is not just to change the boundary, but change the environment to take it outside.
Yes.
And hopefully take it to a little bit more of a greater challenge where you have more space and we can hit that home run wherever Adam is, right? So it doesn't interfere too much. So thank you for your time, and we hope you had fun. Great.
All right. Thank you.